Today's adventure is a 1983 movie called CUJO. CUJO is a happy-loving young Saint Bernard who one day chases a rabbit into a hole. Unfortunately, he sticks his head in there and starts barking, which irritates some bats, some of them carrying rabies. Poor CUJO gets bitten on the nose by one of the bats, and that's how he contracts a sickness that nobody knows he has. Meanwhile, the Trenton family follows a young main character named Tad for short. Tad is afraid of the monster in his closet, and his imagination runs wild when the door keeps opening by itself because of a faulty hinge. The other main character and wife of the family named Donna, and the father of the family named Vic, try to reassure the little boy that everything's okay, that there's no monsters in the closet. And although they try to make him feel better, he still believes there's a monster in his closet. Poor kid. The next morning, we see that the kid has moved a whole bunch of furniture to block his closet door from opening. At least he did that. I say when you want something done, you gotta do it yourself, right? His parents poke some fun about what happened with all the furniture and who might have moved it. It's a mystery. Just then a family friend named Steve comes over. Steve Kemp, who apparently is also Donna's ex-boyfriend from high school. He's known as a local stud. He also fixes things and does carpentry, plays tennis, and is a tutor. And he's hanging around.
Thanks.
I can't stay for a cup of coffee anyway.
Sorry, would you like a cup?
Just teasing.
Very clear that these two are acting very strange. Anyway, Vic, who's responsible for this serial's advertising, gets a notice soon after from watching the television that there's a bunch of people who hemorrhaged after eating this breakfast cereal. Parents and kids were very afraid, but it turns out it was only the red dye from the cereal that was coming out, making it look like blood. Still, it didn't look very good. Guys, also friends or taking tennis lessons from his wife's ex-boyfriend. Me 5 years ago probably would say that wasn't a problem. You can't trust people nowadays. While Steve Kemp is making nicey-nicey with Donna's husband, he's also railing his wife whenever the husband's not around. Donna starts to feel bad about this. And what makes her feel more guilty is the fact that her husband is such a good man. Really? Now you realize that, bitch? Sorry. Gotta be professional like all those other recap channels. Why the hell is your lip so freaking wet? Why is everyone's lip so freaking wet in these movies? What was with 1980s movies and the freaking wet lips and wet everything? Isn't Maine like in the freaking Arctic or something? Why are they so freaking hot over there? It just bothers me. It looks like she just drank a whole cup of milk. Well, technically she did. Man milk. Okay, let me stop. There's an obvious tension at the dinner table whenever Donna and her husband are left together. He starts to notice that they're not having much conversation lately. When Vic wants to get his car serviced, the mailman tells him of another place just up the road. So Vic goes there instead. And when he takes his family there, that's where they meet the Camber family. They meet Joe Camber, the mechanic. Donna sees his wife in the back, but the wife acts very squirrely. This is where we see CUJO making his appearance to the family, and this is the most realistic scene, or at least one of the most realistic scenes in this movie, because immediately the mother has a problem with this. CUJO is a Saint Bernard. They are really huge dogs. Right up there with Neapolitan Mastiffs and Newfoundlands. Some of these dogs can get up to a hefty 200 pounds. So having never seen this dog before, Donna's not about to let it just walk up to her baby. And honestly, I feel the same way. Because if there's other dogs around and I have my little Pomchi out or my Shiba and these dogs are much bigger, I'm not going to just sit down there and wait for the dog to walk up to them and snap their neck.
Vic? Come on, CUJO. Come on, boy. Come on, CUJO. Go with that dog. You don't know that dog. Don't worry about it, ma'am.
She is a good mother because she doesn't know the dog, and she tells him that. She tells her little boy that you don't know that dog. Don't try and pet it if you don't know him. That dog could easily swallow that child whole. But after Joe Camber's son reassures her that CUJO's very friendly, that he would never hurt a fly, Donna kind of relaxes a little bit, even though there's a big old cut on his nose that everyone just seems to completely ignore. I know this was shot in like the 80s and stuff. Did they not have freaking infections back then? Did they not have medicines and ointment so things didn't get infected? Did they not have cattle and farm animals? Even my ancestors had to find herbs and stuff the wounds of their animals to make sure they didn't get infected. This was the 80s, wasn't it? Why would you have your dog walking around with a big old hole in his nose and not treat it? Or at least be concerned. It's not like they didn't see it. The whole family loves CUJO. They would have noticed that he had a really huge mark on his nose. And at the most, they would have washed it out or tried to treat it. Also, the way I see it, a Saint Bernard is not a cheap dog. To get a purebred Saint Bernard nowadays, it still costs $1,000 to $1,500 for a puppy. Now you can adopt them, which is cheaper if they're already adults. But regardless, it's very clear that this family is hurting for money. So I doubt with a purebred dog that you did have to spend money on to get, unless he just wandered into your yard who would let just waste away with something like this. It's not a minor scrape, it's a huge gash in his nose. Donna notices the cut, doesn't say anything, and apparently neither does anyone else. At night, Vic reassures his son Tad that there are no monsters under the bed, under the closet, and he says the magic words, something that he and his son do together, kind of like a prayer, to make sure the monsters stay away. The wife says that he's very good with Tad, and he asks if he is good with her too, wondering if they're okay. She says that he's wonderful, but then that's all there is, just like, alright, see you, good night. I'm really tired right now, because you probably bashed out your brains and your guts earlier on, so the poor man is left there providing for the family and not getting anything in return. I'm pretty sure right about now, he's wondering if something is up. His men can be just as observant when something is wrong. While Vic is struggling to try and put the pieces back together for their ad campaign, CUJO is starting to be bothered by the noise, a symptom of the onset of rabies. The Pinto car that the family drives, or that Donna drives, is starting to malfunction. Vic did say he would get around taking it to the mechanic, but hasn't gotten around to it yet and keeps forgetting. Donna stops by Steve's house, but she's not gonna sookie this time. She's here to tell him that it's officially over between them. And this man has a nerve to ask freaking why. I mean, I can't blame him because this woman should have never done this in the first place. You cheated on your husband, you freaking wench. So understandably, the person who you're cheating with is gonna be like, oh, now you grow a conscience? I think it's a little bit late for that, hun. In this situation, are you not afraid this person's gonna blackmail you and try to rip your family apart? Steve makes like he's okay with this, but he's not, and after she leaves, he goes after her. While Vic is driving, something catches his eye. Oh my, is that his wife and Steve Kemp together? I mean, the Pinto is a pretty obvious and unique car in that town, and he knew what he saw. Almost gets into an accident, turning back around and making a U-turn so he could see her. What a convenience. She just happens to be gone, and so is Steve. When Donna comes home from picking up Tad, Vic tells his son to go inside. He asks her coyly, so, what did you do all day? And she gives him the shifty eyes. It's a very important lesson to learn when somebody is cheating on you. Their behavior will change. They will have a defensive posture. They don't want to meet your eyes, especially if they just did the deed, or if they're hiding something. It's pretty obvious, especially when you've been married to someone for a while, or you've known them for a long time.
So what'd you do today?
Oh, you know, usual. Groceries, errands.
Yeah?
Roger come in today?
Now that he had the inkling, you could tell from her looking at him quickly and looking away and not wanting to meet his gaze and not even giving him the hello that she probably usually would, that something is up. His suspicions are confirmed. At this point, he already knows. I think he always has. CUJO is getting worse and starts to hide away from the noise. We see that Joe Campbell is not a very nice man. He beats on his wife and he's wearing a wife beater. What the hell? Oh, it's funny. Sorry, it's not funny, but you know. His wife apparently wants to get away from him, so she bought him a present in the garage that he can use for his mechanic job. She says she won the lottery, $5,000, and all she asks if she can go stay with her sister in Connecticut for a few days. We all know what that means. Smart lady. Surprisingly, he allows it. Discount Vis Hoskins from Jurassic World is Joe Camber's friend. He jokingly says he'll sick his dog on him, and his friend claims jokingly, your dog wouldn't even do jack if he saw me coming at you with a straight razor in each hand, implying that's how benevolent and soft-hearted CUJO is. Joe Camber also cheats on his wife and sleeps around, and he's gonna use a majority of the money that she won from the lottery, blow it on hookers and a whole bunch of other stuff, and invites his friend to come along. They want to go away too, they can enjoy that money. All the noise is really getting to CUJO, and it seems as though they're being louder than usual.
To the combat zone, see a couple of dirty moves, and try to get the clap.
Sick my dog on you. That dog?
They're doing, and this is what it must feel like for poor CUJO. Vic goes to pick up his son, and guess who's over at the house at that time? Steve Kemp, saying that he misses her. He has fire in his loins, and he's like, no, I miss you. And she's like, God damn it, not in my house. Don't bring the dirt home when you don't lie down with the dogs and catch fleas, or they're gonna follow you home. What did she think was going to happen? She gets really angry, and he pushes her back, and the milk spills. Just then, Tad and his father come home, wondering what's going on. Tad is the sweetest boy ever. He wants to make sure that his mom is okay.
Go ahead and ride your bike, Ted.
Are you okay, Mom?
Go on.
Yeah, honey, I'm okay. Go ride your bike.
At this point, it is freaking awkward because this guy he looks visibly upset. She looks visibly upset. Kemp is also in the house while the husband's away. Understandably, he's like, this shit is going on.
Yes or no?
Yes.
For anyone who didn't catch that, because it just went over your head, he was asking her if you're having an affair with him. She just admitted that she is. At least the cat's out the bag. Understandably, Victor is very upset. He wants to go away for a few days, and he kind of takes his anger out on his son. But he feels bad, and his son wonders if he's gone, who's gonna read the words? Vic says he'll only be gone 10 days, but he'll write down the words so mommy can say them. Also, Vic was supposed to bring the car to the shop, and he's like, I'll get it done when I get time. Cannot blame him for being this angry. And he is trying to do everything in his power to be gracious and not show that side of himself around his son. As promised, he writes down the monster words for his son. That evening, Camber Jr. goes out to find CUJO. He hears growling, and it's clear that CUJO is sick. Brett Camber realizes something is wrong with his dog, and CUJO almost bites him. But after he says, CUJO, it's me, CUJO momentarily goes back to himself and realizes that this is his boy. Feeling as though he's a danger to him, CUJO walks away from him back into the fog. Poor CUJO. It must be horrible to know that your mind is going and that you almost hurt someone that you love. Vic leaves. Donna goes after him to let him know that she had already broken it off and she just wanted him to know that, and that she can't take back what happened. Vic replies saying that he can't take back what happened either. He doesn't know what he's gonna do yet.
I just wanted to be sure that you knew that. I can't make that it never happened, Vic.
I can't make like it never happened either, Donna.
I know that.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know.
Why did she tell him that she can't make that it never happened? As though, like, that was very condescending. I mean, I'm sure in her frustration she was saying that, but okay, yeah, you can't make that it never happened, but you could have made it so you didn't do it. Why are you telling him that? Like, he's supposed to just be okay with it because you can't change the past. I would have dropped her ass, like, but they have a child. Brett says to his mom at the Camber family that something's wrong with CUJO and he's frothing at the mouth. Maybe he should tell his father. But the mother is so terrified about the father changing his mind that she tells him only to tell your dad when we've reached where we're going. Gary, Joe Camber's friend, is preparing to go with his friend on their little getaway with booze and broads and drugs and whatnot. But all the noise he's making attracts none other than CUJO. CUJO is clearly attracted by the noise and is like, what the hell are you doing making all that noise, boy? CUJO attacks him, but I'm actually rooting for Gary here because Gary gets really, really mad. He knows CUJO. It's his best friend's dog, but CUJO crossed the line. And his reaction to CUJO attacking him was so visceral and real.
Come on! Come on! I don't give a shit! Hear me? I don't give a shit! You are dead, you stupid son of a bitch!
The way that CUJO looked at him, though, if you ever see a dog looking up at you like this, do not touch them. I've seen so many animal attack videos of people getting attacked by a dog, and the dogs were giving them clear signs that they were uncomfortable or they were about to attack or feeling threatened. CUJO ends up breaking into the guy's house and killing him. Joe Camber calls out for CUJO, but he can't find him anywhere. He goes to pick up Gary for their time out and finds Gary's house ransacked. When he goes in, he starts crying, finding his best friend lying on the ground dead with his throat ripped open. He smartly checks every area of Gary's house to make sure the assailant is still not there. Then he calls the police. Unfortunately, the assailant comes back. He realizes it's his beloved dog, CUJO. Why is he taking so long to call 911? What is he calling? Why does he have to look through the book for someone to call? Was the 911 not always the number that you called back then? Did you have to look through the freaking phone book to find it? I don't understand what's going on here. Anyways, while he's trying to call, his pup comes back, and he realizes by looking at him that he's rabid.
CUJO! Oh my god, you're rabid.
I don't know why, that guy was a piece of garbage, but I felt bad for him. Can you imagine being mauled by your dog that you love so much that loves you, and he doesn't realize he's doing it because he's sick and something's eating away at his brain? Well, time to take the car to the mechanic because the father forgot to do it. Donna and her kid arrive at Joe Camber's house, but they're not home. The alternator in the car is going, and she calls out, but nobody's answering. As the seatbelt is stuck on Tad and she's trying to get it open, they are viciously attacked by CUJO. Understandably, Tad starts screaming, saying that's the monster in his closet. CUJO threatens the family, and the car is broken down, so they can't leave.
Alright, we're gonna go home right now. We're going right now.
With nobody there, the wife gone away, the husband away for 10 days, Donna and her son are completely left alone with this rabid, hulking dog. Makes me wonder, why do you never see rabid bears? Ugh, gross. How much Vaseline and freaking ooze did they have to put on this dog for him to look like this? Gross, man. Donna tries starting up the car again, but to no avail. A day passes. And as they're going through the situation, Vic tries calling his wife and son. Even though he's pissed about her cheating on him, he loves her, and I think he's just paranoid right now that since he left, she's probably gonna hook up with Steve again. And every time he calls her throughout the days, several times a day, she doesn't pick up, not knowing that it's because she's stranded out there with that beast. Every time they try to get out and do something, the dog lets them know that they are not allowed to leave. Donna realizes that CUJO is deeply affected by noise. Not only is there a vicious dog outside, but the car has become a hot box, and Donna and Tad do not have enough water. I swear to God, every time I watch this movie, I always get jump scared by this, and it's not even a jump scare. But this is how they did jump scares back then, I guess. And honestly, they work a bit better than they do now. Now everything's like this big transient noise that anybody would get scared if you played. It's so cheap. But here, notice there's not a very loud noise. It's just waking up and finding out that a freaking hulking dog is standing right there looking into your car. Also, what is he standing on? Like before he had to stand up to get a good look in the window. Now it looks like he's standing on a box or something. I know his legs aren't that long. Look at where his back is. What is he standing on? It keeps trying and he still can't reach his wife. Donna knows that the mailman's supposed to come by and he will help them. But as the mailman is about to carry and deliver the mail to Joe Camber, someone stops him and reminds him that Cambers had said to hold the mail until further notice. I didn't even know there was a service like this. Because of course, Joe Camber was planning to be away. Now he's never coming back. With the phone ringing, this makes CUJO very angry. And he decides that what he's gonna do is ram his head into the car in order to make the noise stop. He keeps doing that, which makes a dent in the door. Do they make cars like that now, where it won't shatter? What you want about this piece of shit car, but at least it's holding up against this freaking dog. The car gets hotter and hotter, and Vic just cannot work or keep his focus on what's going on. All he can think about is his family, and probably wondering at this very moment if his wife is railing Steve Kemp again. Donna has no choice, and at some point she's gonna have to get out to get water. So she walks out of the car, not realizing that CUJO is hiding. When she checks, he's not there, only to get attacked from behind. And you could tell someone smeared the blood around this dog. Look how the paint is smeared around his face like freaking Simba from The Lion King. CUJO attacks Donna, and at this moment I'm thinking she's going to die as he goes for her jugular. Poor Tad is screaming inside the car. CUJO ends up biting Donna. This poor kid. Oh God. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be lying. It's not funny. It's just, it's so sad seeing him hold the note where his dad wrote the words on to send monsters away, and there's a monster literally tearing his mom to pieces right in front of him. They really believe they scared the shit out of this kid because he looks like the color just left his face. Thankfully, Donna manages to get CUJO out of the car, but her leg is badly bitten. It's very sad when Tad tries to see his mom's wounds, and she is delirious and in so much pain. They're already dehydrated and stressed from the situation.
Listen, Dad.
I think this is the moment the poor kid starts to descend into madness. He's never going to be the same after this. I really think he's going to have some severe PTSD after this if he survives. Vic tells his peers he's got to go home. He lets the guy know his wife's having an affair, and that's what's really been bothering him. Right, now all his friends know, but that's her fault.
Maybe she's spending the night with a friend. Oh, I can't believe I said that.
Wow. Good job, bro. Good job. Throughout this ordeal, Donna prays to God for him to get her and her kid out of the situation. In the morning, she wakes up to her kid seemingly choking for no reason. It's because he's dehydrated and she knows she has to get inside to save him. But CUJO will not let them go. Every moment that he is out here, Tad is dying. Meanwhile, Kemp, the ex-boyfriend from high school and the ex-affair lover, shows up to Donna and Vic's house. Finally, when Vic comes home, he sees that his house is completely in tatters. His wife and kid are gone, and her picture is torn to shreds. Freaking sociopath. They don't know where Donna and Tad are. When they caught Kemp, he admitted to trashing the house, but he said that Donna and Tad weren't even in the house. One of the police officers follows a lead to see if he can find where they are. He knows that her car was at the mechanic, so he goes to the mechanic shop. And somehow CUJO knows to stay quiet and away from the police officer. The officer gets out and knows something is wrong. He sees the car that's bloody and he gets frightened when CUJO attacks him. Drops his freaking revolver, bro. Like, seriously, if you know there's a potential of foul play, why would you not have your gun already out? How stupid can you be? Even still, I'm rooting for the police officer as CUJO tries to tear him to shreds. He is mauled to death by CUJO. Donna gets out of the only working door in the car, and as she gets out, CUJO's like, get your bitch ass back in the car. So she gets her bitch ass back in the car. Her son is having more of those episodes, and all she can do is watch as the police officer, their only source of help at this moment, gets mauled in front of her. The good news, though, is that people will notice he's missing. Vic is very upset. No one has any news and the police guy hasn't called back yet. So he takes matters into his own hands and goes to that lead. When Tad is not responding, Donna is desperate and gets out the car to try and call for help. She has to do something or her son will die, but CUJO stops her. However, her motherly instincts to save her child take over and she faces off CUJO. She picks up the bat that was on the ground and swings at CUJO, beating him a few times. This normally would not happen because if an animal is rabid, it's no longer, especially at the stage, going to have any self-preservation. You can beat it over the head 1,000,000 times and it will still keep coming at you.
That's a fox sneaking up on a woman in her front yard. From this angle, you can see the attack. She kicks the fox over and over, but the animal keeps coming back. It's biting her legs and scratching her arms as she tries to break free.
It's not funny, but it's horrifying, and I can imagine being attacked in a situation like that. You can tell that Fox was not the mother fox protecting her babies. The fox is clearly sick. When you're watching when you're watching the surveillance of it happening, I don't know why, but it's always so freaking hilarious.
Keeps coming back. It's biting her legs and scratching her arms as she tries to break free.
The more I tried to get him to leave me alone, the more voraciously he came after me. He just wouldn't stop. And my fear was that he was going to trip me up and I would fall and he would attack my face.
The fox won't give up.
He latched into the fatty part of your hand right between your thumb and your forefinger with all of his might, and he held on, and I tried to rip him off. I tried to swing him off.
But then her neighbor shows up with a stick, and at last the fox retreats.
I will be grateful to him for the rest of my life, and it did, Megan, after the third or fourth approach from the fox, because he was so persistent.
Sure enough, the fox was later caught and it tested positive for rabies. Sherry Russo was treated right away, and so far she says she's showing no signs that she contracted rabies.
So usually in the end stages, animals would just keep coming and keep coming. To be fair, CUJO was very persistent even still, and still kept attacking Donna, until eventually she broke the bat on his body. He is dazed and confused, but still sees her as a threat, and when he comes after her, she impales him with the stick, or rather he impales himself. She picks up the gun, and you can see that the dog is still breathing, which means he's dying slowly. She tries to open the door, but she can't. I don't know why she didn't just beat the glass that was already shattered. She goes to the roughest, toughest part of the car in terms of glass and tries to beat that can easily go into her son's eyes and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. She brings her son into the camper's house. She tries to get him water immediately and breathes into him. Meanwhile, she doesn't know her husband is on his way. Finally, out of desperation and tears, she keeps trying and her son takes a breath. But their celebration is short-lived as CUJO, who is still alive, charges through the glass, ready to attack them once more. At this point, I just want the dog to be put out of its misery. They're completely exposed now, and not having the energy to run, Donna, having the gun now, levels the playing field. Cujo sets his eye on her and her kid. She takes out the revolver and possibly shoots Cujo in the head. When Vic arrives at the mechanic place, sees Donna already having handled everything with her kid in her arms. Vic, seeing his child and his wife in this state, probably makes him feel a million things. First of all, she's not having an affair with Kemp. Second of all, she's safe. Third of all, what the hell is going on? He runs up to meet them, and the movie stops like this without us seeing what the hell would have happened. I didn't pause it. It literally ends like this. Does their marriage survive? Does he leave her? What happens? She didn't get treatment right away for rabies, so did she live? And apparently in the book, she did. She got treatment, and her marriage survived. But there was a very other important element of the story that happened that I do not want to spoil for those who have not read the book. That was Cujo. What an amazing movie. And see, I don't know what people are talking about nowadays, talking about heroines, females not having a place and saving themselves. This movie was made in 1983. It's an old-ass movie, and this woman handles shit on her own. Why are they making it seem like this is a new prospect? Anyways, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.